What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video on Horizon 5, and today it's going to be a little unusual because I'm going to be reviewing a car pack that just came to the game. Except it really didn't, because it's a car pack that I made that is both an actual car pack and not a car pack. And the reason why I'm saying that is because there are some cars that you can only get through expansions. Only 3 of them, and then the other 3 are just, cars that you can get in the game. But before I even get into that, I need to explain what Yeti Performance is, because I know that the trailer I just dropped, it just dropped last week, and I know some of you are probably wondering, what exactly is Yeti Performance, and how did it start? So what Yeti Performance is basically a collection of cars that are tuned out and designed to look really cool, and they have a unique off-road build to them. To sum it up, basically cars that are already in the game that have cool paint jobs and extreme off-roading tunes. And the reason why I chose Yeti was because it kind of rolls off the tongue really nice. Yeti Performance, or just, Yeti Performance. It just sounds right. And plus, it also implies that... Oh, Illy just joined. And what it also kind of implies is that the vehicles are going to be really, beefed up for off-roading, and it just sounds cool. The genesis of Yeti Performance started with this thing, the Ford Focus RS, the very first Yeti Performance car. And it wasn't even a car that I, technically made from scratch. I was scrolling through Instagram one day, and I saw this Ford Focus that someone, spec'd out very similar to this, and it had a paint job that was basically black at the front and then blue at the back. And I really liked it, and I wanted to try and copy the design onto Forza, but with my own take on it. So then I started, experimenting, and then I decided that I want to put this thing into, some kind of a car pack, because it just looked cool. Some of you guys might recognize this from a trailer from Horizon 4, when I did, when the very first Yeti Performance car pack came to Horizon 4, and I really like this thing. I really wanted this to be, shown off in a car pack. The headlights, like the lights on the hood, those weren't a thing back then, but they're a nice addition now. So the genesis of the car pack started with this, and you guys would have seen it already in Horizon 4 when that it first released, I think like 5 years ago or something like that. But we're not going to focus on the old car pack. We're going to focus on the new one. So we're going to start things off with the 3 DLC cars, because there are actually 3 DLC cars that you can only get through an expansion. One of them is through the Hot Wheels expansion, and the other 2 are through the Rally Adventure expansion. So we're going to start things off real quick with the cover car, one of the 2 cover cars for this car pack, that being the Subaru WRX STI ARX Supercar. There are no official sponsors on this thing. I just want to make that very clear. This is all my design, so everything from the GoPro livery to the well, mostly the GoPro, but everything else on here is like my own design. So you did hear me correct when I did say that there was one car from this car pack that you can only get through an expansion, which is really dumb in the first place, considering that the Hot Wheels expansion is mostly on-road themed and track focused, but, whatever. This car came with the car pack, and I was really excited because I was into Travis Pastrana at the time. He was a really cool dude. So when I saw that this thing was being added, which looks almost exactly like the Subaru that he had in Hoonigan, I thought it was just so cool that this thing was being added. So that was another one of the reasons why I wanted to include this thing in the car pack. I also really wanted this thing to have a semi-realistic build to it, so that's why I also included some 1552 Turbo Maxes for the rims, which are not only wheels that you can fit on the actual WRX, but they're also Chem Blocks wheels that he had on his Ford Focus RS. So I thought that this would be like a nice tribute to Chem Block and also Travis Pastrana. So this car was not only my personal favorite to put in the car pack because I love Subarus, but I also wanted to have a hint of Chem Block and a dash of Travis Pastrana in this car pack because, this thing is just so cool. But in terms of like comparing this thing to like the original version of this thing, it's not that different. This is the standard card. This is the one that you can just get from, completing everything in Hot Wheels and just buying it in the auto show. So this is the standard car, and those are the standard stats. And then this is the one that I have with a different paint job on that I'll feature in an upcoming solo release. But this one, it's not that different. I think it only has like a slight weight difference to it. I think that's mostly comes down to like the wheels. But that's because this thing is already so perfect in what it does. There's really no need to improve it. So the only real difference with this thing is that it has a kick-ass paint job and it has different wheels. So that's really the only difference with this thing. It's not that different from the standard car. So moving on from the Subaru, we're going to take a look at one of the trophy trucks that I have featured in this car pack, which is the Alumicraft number 6165 Trick Truck. At first glance, a lot of my friends, they were really kind of dissing on this thing because they found it to be kind of stupid looking, and it kind of is, but in a fun way. And what's really funny about this is because this is one of the most drastically different looking and upgraded vehicles that I have in this car pack. So this is the standard one, and that's the upgraded one. So this is the standard one, which only has 430 horsepower, weighs 5,750 pounds. Whereas the upgraded one has 950 horsepower, and it weighs, what is that, 600 and something pounds lighter. So this is the Yeti Performance number 65 trick truck, trophy truck thing. When I first showed this thing off to some of my friends, they all thought it was kind of stupid because, you know, first of all, it's rear-wheel drive, which means that you don't get a whole lot of traction, and you're going off-roading. So there's really no point in having a, 950 horsepower rear-wheel drive trophy truck when you can easily get overtaken by someone in, something even faster, like a bone shaker, for example. But that's not the point with this vehicle. I didn't set this thing up for extreme off-road racing and, competing with others. No, I set this thing up so that you can have a hell of a lot of fun with this thing. And also, one of the things I discovered while building this thing is that I discovered that this thing's actually a really good drift truck, which is bizarre to me because this thing was able to, like, when we were doing tandem races one time, I was actually keeping up with them, and it was actually holding a really decent line. I know I'm not the best drifter in the world, but I mean, it was still really fun. I mean, look at this. Like, I'm not the best drifter in the world, but this thing is still a hell of a lot of fun to mess around with. And that's the thing with this vehicle. I'll bring it up again. This thing, it is stupid in terms of, like, trying to compete and stuff, but this thing is not meant for competition. It's not meant for anything competing against someone else. It's just meant for having fun. And with this tune and this upgrade, it's way better than the stock version, and that's what this thing's all about. It's a fun truck. It's not meant for racing, it's not meant for drifting. Well, I mean, you can drift it, but it's not meant for, like, competing against others. You can, but it's not really meant for that. It's meant for just having a whole lot of fun. Now, if you are looking for competition, the next DLC truck you can get in this car pack is this thing, the RJ Anderson Razor Pro 4 Polaris truck, or whatever it's called. This is the standard one that you can get from the Rally Adventure expansion, and this is the upgraded one. And like the Subaru, it's not that different from the standard truck. It's only got about a 100-pound difference, but, again, this thing is already so perfect at what it does that there's really no need to change anything to it except modify the paint a little bit. This thing, however, this thing is meant for actual extreme racing. The trick truck, no. This thing, yes. Because it has four-wheel drive, and it has, how much horsepower? 830 something. I don't even know the stats of my own truck. This is definitely the more serious of the two trophy trucks. This thing can go anywhere it wants to. And just to prove it to you, it can do that. I should explain. If you do absolutely everything, all the Apex Predator routes, all the Horizon Raptor routes, and the Grit Reaper routes, if you do absolutely everything in Rally Adventure, you will unlock all of the DLC vehicles for, like, not for free, but you can unlock them in the auto show. If you complete everything in the Rally Adventure expansion, as well as the Hot Wheels expansion too, you can unlock every vehicle you get in the expansion in the auto show. So that's why I have multiple Subarus and only two trophy trucks from RJ Anderson. So that's all three of the DLC vehicles covered. You can only get the trophy trucks by buying the Rally Adventure expansion, and you can only get the Subaru by buying the Hot Wheels expansion, which is really unfortunate, but, it's not that big of a deal if you already have both expansions. But moving on from those, we're now going to take a look at the standard cars that you can get basically for free in the standard game. And we're going to start it off with this thing, the Sierra Car 700R. I love this little thing. This thing is so much fun. It's not that fast. It only goes up to about 75 miles an hour, but you don't feel that when you're actually driving this thing. I absolutely love Sierra cars. I think they're such a cool brand, and they have a unique variety of vehicles. My absolute favorite of all of them is this thing, the 700R. The reason why I included it was because why not? I just thought that this thing was so cool, and I love little vehicles like this. This thing is like, it's like the trophy truck, the trick truck from earlier. It's not meant to go fast. It's not meant to compete with anything except maybe itself, but it's a fun little vehicle. So this one is the upgraded one that I have featured. It has 60 horsepower. The standard one only has 50. The standard car weighs 805 pounds, and the upgraded one actually weighs lighter, only a few pounds lighter, about 11 pounds lighter, but regardless, it's still a fun vehicle. So yeah, it's just a fun, goofy little vehicle, and I was really excited to add this thing into the car pack. Now, moving on to what is, I think, the coolest car in this car pack is this thing, the Funko F9, in terms of, like, tuning setups and everything. Because if you remember, a little while ago, I made a video talking about this thing, basically turning it into an all-wheel drive monster while still being S1. Because the Funko F9, it has 1,750 horsepower. Because the base vehicle's rear-wheel drive, and if you put all-wheel drive on it, that basically bumps it up to S2, which makes sense because you're basically, that's basically overpowering it, which is why it's rear-wheel drive. And it's a sand rail. I talked about this in my most viewed video. I mean, that video really popped off, and I really wanted to include this. So when I found out that you could turn this thing into an all-wheel drive S1 behemoth, I was like, yeah, this thing's being included. Even with this thing being all-wheel drive, it is pretty uncontrollable still. You can still turn it, but it's a giant boat. This thing's like the freaking Yara Viking of cars. It's just about impossible to get this thing to turn. One thing that's actually really strange about this build is that it actually does work in S1 open racing for off-roading. It's really weird. So it's definitely not the best at cornering. I think that's pretty obvious. But if you tune this thing just right, and if you upgrade it like I did, and you're able to actually, you know, make it cooperate on the dirt, this thing is actually, I think, one of the fastest S1 off-roading vehicles for open racing. I think I'm the first one who discovered this. I'm not too sure. I could be wrong, but it's still a fun... This is both a really fun vehicle to use, and also you can take this into S1 off-road open racing. And also, obviously, you can get this thing to wheelie, if I didn't make that clear already in my most popular Horizon 5 video. That's just so freaking cool. That never gets old. Now, moving on to what is, I think, the most anticipated vehicle of this car pack is this thing, the Lamborghini Huracan Sterrato. I waited so long for this thing to come to the game, and finally it did. And I'm really glad it did because I wanted this car pack to stand out somehow, and I think that the Huracan really helped out a lot with that because it's a recently added car, and I really wanted to make this thing special. And this was probably the most difficult one to make because, A, it's a Sterrato. It already looks good as it is. So how do you make a Sterrato look even better than a Sterrato, especially a Yeti Performance one? This is basically, I think, the only supercar I have featured in any of the car packs because all the other ones are meant for, like, well, they're off-roading vehicles that were, like, I don't know, like, they were street cars, but this is the only supercar I've ever had featured. And I think this one's appropriate because, you know, it's the Sterrato. And I didn't want to include, you know, any random Sterrato. If you watched my off-road supercars video, I used an Evo to recreate a Sterrato. I didn't want to use that one because I wanted it to be the real thing. You don't get either of these things on the Evo. And you don't get the roof racks. You don't get the hood scoop. You don't get the flared wheel arches or the factory off-road tires. Everything on this car works. The paint job, the tune. When they announced that the Huracan Sterrato was coming to Horizon 5, I was so excited because I was like, there it is. That's the final car for the Yeti Performance car pack. Because one thing I did also want to mention, if you guys saw in the trailer that I made, there is one vehicle that is shown off in that car pack that isn't shown off in the rest of the trailer. And it's this thing, the Jimco Hammerhead. When this thing first came to the game, I was really excited. And over time, I just sort of lost interest in it. And it was basically going to be in the car pack, but then I saw the Sterrato, and I was trying to limit the car pack to only 6 cars, because 7 was just kind of too much for me. So I limited the car pack to only 6 cars, because also the previous car pack was also 6. So I replaced this thing with a Sterrato. I just killed a chicken. So yeah, I was really excited to make this car pack, and I'm sorry it took so long, because technically it was already made. Like, it was ready a year ago, but you know, things changed, and, you know, I wanted to make the car pack even better and different. So that's why the car pack took so long. And I just want to say, it is a freaking shame. I'm so mad right now, because I just know for a fact the YouTube algorithm is working against me. It always has. I'm just going to start ranting right now, because I'm so mad about the YouTube algorithm. I know I'm already a smaller Forza YouTuber, but I was really hoping that the other car pack would do better. So for the next several weeks, pretty much, I'm gonna upload the car pack trailer again and again, just to see how many views and likes it gets, because I really do think that the algorithm is working against me, because the old car pack got like 600 views or something like that, and I wanted this one to be better, and it's just a freaking shame that it isn't doing that right now. I hate YouTube for that. Now, I know that might sound a little ridiculous coming from me, but, you know, I really wanted this car pack to, you know, get more recognition and reception from everyone, but clearly it isn't. And I don't know if that's because of the YouTube algorithm, or, frankly, that's just my luck. I don't know. But either way, I'm gonna start uploading the trailer again every, like, Wednesday, I think. I'm usually not picky about how many views and likes I get, but when I do something, I pour all my passion in, and all my attention in, and all my dedication in it, I kind of want it to get more reception. So for it to only get 100 and something views, I'm a little mad about that. That's basically all I really wanted to talk about, was that I'm a little pissed off with the algorithm right now. And I'm going to be making... Well, I'm not going to be making... I'm going to be uploading this car pack several times until I get a desirable YouTube hit with it. But with that aside, this was the Yeti Performance 2.0 car pack, and the cars that I have featured in this car pack, which I think I honestly nailed it. I think it's a good balance. I think I should do this from now on. Have 3 cars that are... Well, basically just have half the cars that are DLCs, and half the cars that are not DLCs, because at least that gives people an opportunity to get cars that are available to get, but aren't locked behind a paywall. But yeah, that was me explaining the origins of Yeti Performance, and also the cars that are featured in this car pack. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed it. Do be sure to leave a like and subscribe. Download all the tunes and paint jobs that I have featured for these cars. If they're not already up, I will make sure to upload them now. And yeah, stay tuned, take care, join the Discord server, and have a good night.